And now, podcasting from the sun-scorched desert Southwest, weighing in at a combined total of 340 pounds, Brad Winchester, Tyler McDowell-Blanken, are Gimmick Infringement.
Welcome, everybody, to the Gimmick Infringement Podcast. I am Brad Winchester, and with me, as always, is my tag team partner, Tyler McDowell-Blanken. Tyler, it's Sunday night as we record this. I'm on cloud nine. I am holding up my Packers sweatshirt. I had to debate this week. Do I wear the Packers hoodie after they just beat the Cowboys, or do I wear my Michigan shirt? Go Blue, national champs, Eddie Guerrero City. Amazing. Hell of a week for football for me. How you doing, man?
We lie, we cheat, we steal.
Yeah.
Congrats, bro. It's a great. It's been an amazing week of football for you. Welcome back. I am so good because you are back with us, Brad. I'm glad you are feeling better. I'm glad that we have such a loaded episode. I think this is going to lead to some really fun conversations today. But I'm so good, man. I'm so good. Grateful and excited for this one as always.
Before we get into it, check out Tyler's interview with TK Trinidad earlier this week. You can find it on YouTube. You can find it on our channel and on all of our audio platforms. Please go check that out. Great interview, really fun conversations. Kids Bop showing up again in the GI pod sphere.
Kids Bob Drake.
Yes.
Again.
Yes.
My attempt to inform.
Was that a hot take tie at one point? I can't remember.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Absolutely was. And I maybe we'll ask TK next time. I wonder if TK's given it a shot yet, because I know it sounds like a little bit of a wild take on its face value. But if you are listening or watching us right now, first, thank you. And secondly, Spotify, Apple, LimeWire, whatever you're using, please search Kids Bop Drake. Please search Kids Bop, look for Drake Hotline Bling, and talk to me at Tyler J. McDowell at GIPod19. You know the vibes.
Music's a great outlet, Tyler, and outlet stores are a thing around here. If you are in Arizona, you probably know where your nearest outlet mall is. I know there's a couple up by you. There is one that is owned by the same company by me. I visited an outlet store today, but Tyler, I was told that you have an outlet story for me.
This is true. Yeah, I absolutely do. So you were telling me about your days of this is circa, I want to say, like 2015, maybe
2015, 16, 17.
Yep. The time element is important here because there are some stores at the Marana outlet that are no longer there. So back in the day, there was a Just Sports. There was I think the Levi's is still there. But
Levi's is still there. The Disney store is gone.
I think it's just Sports. Just Sports that broke my heart. Like, that was my place. But there was a Converse store. So you were telling me in our production meeting that you have fond memories of those Converse trips. In fact, you went so far as to let your followers on Twitter know about your trips, and
all 70 people were like, wow,
you were that person.
Yeah.
So when you were telling me that, and you obviously had a student you recognized who worked there, and she became store manager, and that's amazing. So it made me think of my Marana outlet story. This was, gosh, I want to say it was probably 2019, Brad. And I went on, it was either a first or a second date with this woman that I was talking to. And for whatever
shout out to Randy.
That's a deep cut. Wow. I have no response for that because I'm gonna get too off track. So Randy's hilarious. So for whatever reason, I proposed meeting at the outlet mall and hanging out as a date idea. This is totally something a dude in his 20s would do. So please note that I'm definitely beyond this. I'm better. But back then I proposed this outlet mall idea. And my recollection, Brad, was I guess maybe we ate either before or after this mall trip. But for whatever reason, you know how at the Marana Outlet Mall, there's this big center courtyard, and then the stores are on the left and the right. Like
you didn't take her to Wetzel's, did you?
Absolutely not. No.
Okay.
No,
right.
I don't. I think we just went window shopping. I don't recall us buying anything.
It is beautiful there.
It's beautiful. Yeah. I knew it was the springtime. It was March, April, so it was super nice. So
Nighttime?
No, early evening. It was after school. I was still
Okay.
in my work clothes, my Thursday best. And we just hung out in the courtyard. And there are these orange lawn chairs that
Yeah.
are really big and really comfy. You know
Yeah.
those orange lawn
Yeah.
chairs.
Of course. Been
And so
in many times.
I have these vivid memories of us just posted up there sitting with like my arm around her chair, just basking in life. And students saw me there. So they said, "Yo, McDowell." This gentleman, his name's Josiah, really great young man. He was working at Shoe Palace at the time. So Josiah saw me there. I think maybe one other student said what's up in the moment. And I was like, "Oh no, this was a terrible idea. This is not what I was coming here for." And then the next day, Brad, I kid you not, first period senior English, another student told me that they saw me there and they wanted to know the details about who I was with. So anonymity is, I think, a little bit important. We want to keep things a little bit private. And then, because eventually when they ask, how's it going? Of course, I tell them, oh, we broke up. It didn't work out.
Sure.
I never say it was my fault. Always, blame it on the other person.
Of course.
That's just what we do. But yeah, that was my outlet store. I brought a date there, not for the purposes of shopping or for eating. We just hung out in the courtyard.
I was muted. Listen, man, you know how I feel about these things. I think that's a legitimately decent date. It is open. There's lots and lots of people there. There are places to go if you want to dip out. It is a place that requires and necessitates conversation. I'm a huge disliker of movie dates. I think they're pointless. Unless they're coupled with an intimate dinner, I don't understand the point of going to a movie together. Hey, let's go sit in the dark and not talk. And I know you can play the handhold game and all that stuff.
It's crucial. I've done it. Yeah.
Yeah, of course. But like, you got to have the build up to it. You got to if you go to dinner and it goes, well, the movie's going to be great. But if there's just movie, you don't know how it's going to go. Because what if you start holding hands and then after find out that they're just a POS? Like, you don't need that in your life. Going to the outlet mall. Sure. A little weird. Let's go shopping.
Big weird. Yeah. I just wanted you to like see the kids and they'll tell you heroic stories about me. And then I got this.
Yeah.
What was I doing, Brad?
In fairness,
no
man,
wonder I'm single.
In fairness, it is a really difficult thing to navigate when you're a teacher, because I was lucky enough to be with Jess when I started teaching. So I didn't have to worry about all of that, because I can't go anywhere without bumping into somebody I know or that knows me that I just simply don't remember, because it's been 17 years and I don't remember everybody. They're like, hey, you remember me? And I'm like, no.
Yeah.
Like, I saw you 15 years ago. What do you mean I remember? You were a freshman. You're a grown-ass adult now. Like, you
Marana,
were 30.
Arizona, growing town. But a town nonetheless. Everybody knows it. Everyone goes to the outlet mall, especially in March and April when it's beautiful.
That's the crazy thing. It's also a college city. So you got the U of A downtown. I could go downtown and bump into a graduate. It's crazy out there. It doesn't make any sense. I don't know. But at the outlet mall, to your point, like, I see people all the time. Hey, Mr. Winchester, it's we're good. Let me go shoe shop. I was going to buy these underwear that were on sale, but now that I'll be wearing them, I don't believe I'll be getting them. It's a thing.
Right. That's tough. That's tough.
Yeah. I was looking at them. They were on sale, Under Armour outlet. And I was like, oh, good. They got the 3-pack, the boxer briefs. I love these things. They're great. $20 for a 3-pack. Can't beat that. 5XL was the smallest size. I could sail the ocean with those. So it was absolutely, I was screwed. So it made me sad, but I did walk away with a pair of shoes. Cannot wait to wear them. I needed them. Been wanting to get a new pair for a while so I can head back to the gym, because I would like to join you in the next one. But right now, ladies and gentlemen, Tyler has a new edition of Trap Tales. So let's cue up the music.
I got so caught up in the outlet story, I almost forgot that I absolutely have the Trap Tales. I was like, oh yeah, that's I did tell you. I did promise this. Yeah, man. So it's been a minute since Trap Tales, but I want to talk about this. I want to revisit our last conversation about the social rules of a gym because I've had some experiences lately that I need to tell you about. The basketball training factory at my local gym is still in full effect, even though we're in the winter and it's dark and it's cold first thing in the morning. They're still here. However, Brad, since my last update, I've become fast friends with one of the moms of a 9th grader who trains there. I remind you, they got these kids up at the gym at 5 a.m. for this during the week. It's nuts. Anyway, and the story probably isn't going where you think it is going, so just give me a moment. On a few occasions, the mom has updated me.
Outlet mall date.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. I'm 30. I'm a grown man now, Brad. Those days are past me. But the moms updated me on their kid, their daughter in this case, and their recent high school game. So the daughter's a freshman playing on JV, but of course they have aspirations to get her to varsity. Hence why they pay for personal training at this pseudo camp at our local gym. So I've learned all about this woman. This is the mom I'm talking about. Her playing days from high school and college, what she thinks of a 1-3-1 press, and more. I was shooting on my own, and she came over to speak with me the other morning. Before I knew it, 30 minutes had passed.
Wow.
Legitimately, you know how workday mornings are, especially in our chosen profession of education. So I've had enough. We need a better system. Here's my idea for eSport Day. Here's my pitch. When you check in, you get a sticker. You choose the color. If it's yellow, that indicates you're the type of gym goer who wants social time. You maybe even crave it. It's part of the experience you want when you're trying to get your fitness. However, if you choose the gray sticker, you're more than happy to not speak with a single solitary soul during your hour of solitude. I think this is more realistic than dividing the gym into 2 sections like we're at Hi-Fi Tucson. The sticker seems much more proactive. Brad, I just want to get in, do my work, and leave. I don't want the social time anymore. The mom's very nice, but I gotta figure out a better way to expedite these conversations. I don't want to be a jerk. I don't want to have my headphones on while I'm pooping. I'm not trying to go to the G League or anything that seems absurd to me. But I just can't have folks taking up 30 minutes of my precious workout. Because then I got 20 minutes to fit in a workout. It's a problem.
That was a great one because I can absolutely identify with that one. There's a couple people there that I'll do they'll do the move, right? Like you got your headphones in, they have theirs in, you make eye contact, you do the little head nod thing, the broski, what's up? And then when they go like this and they take a headphone out, an earbud out, they take the one out, it's an indication that they are ready for conversation. And I always try to do the head nod and then look at the floor. Because if I linger, they're going to take the thing out and then, damn it, now I'm committed because they saw me see them. But if I look away before they could get there, I could just get my set in. They're not going to stop me. So they'll probably move on. Probably. But man, I cannot tell you how many times I've been in that situation where I'm like, guess to wrap it up because I got to get in there before this guy gets in the shower because he goes in there, showers, shaves, grooms. I see him walk out with hair gel. He's got 8 Homer Simpson hairs on the top of his head. So what the hell is that hair gel?
Not the Charlie Brown.
What is the hair gel going on? Is my question. Ugh. So I'm with you, man.
I think the issue is some of these people seem genuinely nice. There's another person. Is a gentleman. His name's Tom. Actually, I'll put Tom's name out in these streets. Really nice guy, middle-aged dude. We just go at the same time, so we've seen each other, struck up conversation. Brad, sure. He is the most joyful man I may have ever met in my life. He is always genuinely happy, always wants to know how you're doing. This is a person I would love to be friends with outside, but not during the hour at Esporta. I'm trying to navigate it.
I totally get it. I'm actually looking forward to going back. I pulled this up as we head in because I was curious Tyler, I was flashing the green and gold
As you should.
up onto the screen. The Lions are currently up with the ball 24-23 with 8:09 left in the fourth quarter. It has to be tense over at Casa Larson right now. I don't want to go over there. I know everybody's having a good time, but I'm not changing my shirt. And my father-in-law is a Cowboys fan. So with that being said, with antagonism and fighting in mind, let's talk WWE. Tyler, what's your first question? Or your only question? I always say first question. We don't have more than one.
Yeah.
What's your WWE question?
Yeah, we got to talk about it. And I'm just going to get straight to my question this week, just to switch it up. Legado, LWO, Judgment Day, The Final Testament, which I definitely want to hear your thoughts on. I'm kind of digging it. The Street Profits and Bobby Lashley, and the Bloodline. I mentioned the Judgment Day too. Okay, I'm throwing myself off. All these names you got, Brad. Here's my question. With the growing list of teams, is it time for WWE to add trios titles?
Ooh. If the way they've been booking the tag division, yeah. Why not? But
I'm surprised. You got some heavy hitters that I named there.
I take it back. No, the AEW's already doing it. Let it be that thing. That
was a pump fake.
I think WWE can stick with their tag division. I think they have a lot of belts in there because we already know how this is going to go with the trios. Do we have Raw trios or SmackDown trios? Or just trios. And then what do you do with that? And how do you book that across two shows? I think that the deals coming up for where WWE is going to end up, if SmackDown and Raw end up on the same network, then yes. If not, then no. I think it's really important that we have separation there that would allow them to kind of do their own thing because the brands are in different places. But if they end up in the same place, then the brands are in the same place. They're still split brands. And I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people that are like Raw, meh, and SmackDown only, or vice versa. But I don't know. It makes it a lot easier to have overlap and have it make sense without the networks competing for it. So if they end up in the same place, then yeah, do whatever you want. But until they do that, I don't think they should do it because logistically it's going to lead to a bunch of storytelling that doesn't make any sense. So they totally could do it. They have enough screen time. They have the talent. Unless that deal gets them on the same place, I don't think they should. What about you?
Well, first, let me say I appreciate your pump fake there. That was very Dwayne Wade or Rip Hamilton-esque. Was Rip a big pump faker? Was that more Chauncey?
That's more Chauncey, I think.
Cheed.
Although Rip was just off the dribble. He was just
exactly.
Yeah, he's just bounced. Yeah. Like that dude was springy.
Yeah, it was fun too. So first, shout out to you for that. Keep me on my toes as always. And then I think, you know what? I think you may have persuaded me with this one. B. I agree with you. I don't believe they're needed at the moment. It would feel very much like a copycat of AEW in that regard. I just hope that they use these trios the right way. It was just apparent to me with Raw and definitely with SmackDown. They just have a great trios division, maybe even stronger than AEW, dare I say. All those teams I listed, I know Roman has the belt and isn't looking to do a lot of six-man work, but especially with these two teams on SmackDown, with the Final Testament, Cross and AOP now forming, and then Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits definitively being top baby faces on that brand. And then you got Legado, and then Carlito got an apple from Paul Heyman. Judgment Day, yeah, it
was a package deal though.
It was a package deal. Yes, an apple. It was so good.
You could tell Paul was even trying to suppress a laugh
100%.
when it cut away. That was amazing. Yeah, SmackDown was great.
I love SmackDown.
It was so good.
Belts not needed, but I really want to see what this trio division is going to deliver in 2024 because. Yeah, if this week was any indication, the future is bright. Lots of stars.
Totally agreed, man. Like if we're talking trios matches, yes. Belts, no. And unless the merger happens where the brands are in the same place, then it makes sense. And they can do whatever. Speaking of groups and like Damage Control, for example, likely stopping at NXT, according to sources, I don't remember which ones, said that she would like to go there and work on her English. Where do you think she ends up in the current women's division? And do you think it's a good or bad move to put her in Damage Control as it currently exists?
Wow. I hope she arrives sooner than later. To me, NXT seems like the place where she would begin. I wouldn't be mad if she bypasses that and goes to WWE, but I could see. I mean, this upcoming NXT draft class, if it works out this way, if you end up having, say, Camille in NXT, Giulia, at this point, I think Jade is going to the main roster, Brad. I know there was heavy talk that she would start NXT, but to me, the only right way to do this is Jade debuts at the Rumble, and then from there, it's Raw or SmackDown. We're just printing money. Giulia, NXT to start for me, but ultimately, would I want her in Damage Control? I don't think so. There are so many members of Damage Control as is. You mentioned Bailey. We know
She's on her way out.
She's gonna kick rocks very soon. We're all we're all collectively just kind of gasping because we know it's coming. But at this point, Damage Control is amazing. They're already a quartet, though. I don't know that it would be let's kick Bailey out and then regain a fifth member. I think they're going to stand strong as a quartet. Asuka, Io, Kyrie, and Dakota. Giulia, NXT, have a long title reign there, and then come up to Raw or SmackDown. In fact, Brad, I would be happy if she's on Raw, separate of Damage Control, and just doing her thing on Monday nights. What say you?
That's exactly what I think. I think get her. I don't want her to go to Damage Control because Damage Control is really great. I love the women in it. Dakota Kai is still healing up. I think she's going to have a run in there and be a heel for a while. But right now, making it the Joshi faction, and that's kind of I don't know, something about it is both awesome and feels a little bit too early 2000s to me. You know what I mean? Yeah, there's
I do.
Yeah. It's like the women's Japanese nation of domination is what it's turning into. And we got Dakota Kai as Owen Hart in the nation. So adding Giulia would make sense, but also I don't want that. Let Giulia do her thing. I don't want to see her have a long run or long reign in NXT. It sounds like it's going to be a relatively brief stint to get her kind of acclimated and work on her English because her in-ring work doesn't need anything.
No, exactly. Establish your character, get those
WWE style and work the hard cam a little bit differently because Stardom's great and I love that it's on TV and New Japan is great and I love that they get broadcast, but it's not the same thing. Just watching the matches, like people don't find the hard cam to do the finishing moves nearly as effectively or efficiently as what they do in WWE because it's all about working the camera. And then figuring out timing in the ring. So I think she could definitely benefit from that. But I would love to see her go to Raw. I would love to see her just feud with everybody. There's no match I don't want to see with her. I think her and Nikki Cross could be really fun. I'd love to see Giulia and somebody. First of all, I haven't said this, but Nia Jax is having probably the best run of her career.
Talk about it.
Back. She's been really good, man. And Giulia and Nia could be fun. Giulia and Piper could be fun. There's a lot of like, you're not going to wrestle anybody that looks like that, that's that big, that moves like that, where you currently are, unless they get guests that come over. I suppose Willow is probably comparable. Or close to comparable, and there's a great still shot of her getting absolutely booted in the face by Giulia. But I would love to see her go there, and I would love to see her on the main roster sooner than later.
Yeah, for sure. And if she were to go in NXT, in my mind, I could totally see her having an Asuka-like run there, where she's just dominant, and then whoever beats her would be a made woman and would get the rub. But as long as Giulia's on our TV screens, we're gonna be winning, Brad. Speaking of winning, we want to tell you about our latest sponsor. We want to get you some deals. We want you to win too. So we're going to tell you about Patio. It's a new year, which means new resolutions. One of mine is to spend more time outside, away from screens, and around the people I love. Grand Patio is helping me do that. For over 20 years, they've partnered with internationally renowned designers to create collections that are equal parts luxurious and livable. The kind that can transform your backyard into a personal oasis that plays host to life's most special moments. Are you hearing this? Grand Patio uses the best factories, offers handcrafted products from some of the world's most talented designers, and of course prioritizes sustainability. Their products include umbrellas, recliners, gazebos, sectionals, and much more. Visit our affiliate link, grandpatio.sjv.io/GIPod, all caps on GIPod. Once again, that's grandpatio.sjv.io/ all caps GIPod to shop their collection today.
Tyler, man, I went outside today and I was thinking about this when I was outside. Like, I have nowhere to put all of this stuff. At some point, I got to talk about the pizza oven story. Like, at some point, it has to be addressed.
I forgot we haven't addressed it.
Absolutely wild stuff. But there's just so many things back there. I keep moving stuff around, trying to find the best combination, and I can't find a solution. It's crazy. But around and around we go, like a carousel. And Tyler, the coaching carousel was spinning this week. We got to talk about it. We got to do a what happened here coaching carousel 2024. So play the music.
What happened here?
Yeah, you let us off here, B. The annual football coaching carousel has commenced. This past week, we saw so much. First, in the NFL, Bill Belichick and the Patriots mutually parted ways. Hoodie's been forthright that he still wants to coach. I think there may be an opening in Dallas, dare I say, in the near future. I don't wish that.
The Chargers are the move.
But you think
the Chargers
so?
are the
Justin
move.
Herbert?
I think so, but yeah, I mean, there's
people have been trying to make the Chargers a thing, though, Brad, for basically since the inception. I hear from my sources in San Diego.
Do you need a hoodie in SoFi? I'm not sure.
I don't think you do. You do. But really big deal. I agree with you, though. I think it's either probably going to be the Chargers or maybe the Cowboys if an opening opens up. But we got to talk about college. A fellow GOAT, Alabama's Nick Saban, announced his retirement, which led to current Bama/former Arizona athletic director Greg Byrne, a dude I met when I was there, actually, really nice guy, hiring Kalen DeBoer from Washington, which, we're bearing the lead, has led to Arizona football coach Jedd Fisch leaving Tucson. This just dropped a few hours before we hit record. The wound is still fresh on my end. Jedd Fisch is now the head coach of Washington after leading our beloved Wildcats to a phenomenal season, capped off with an Alabama Bowl. Yikes. An Alamo Bowl victory. Brad, this was tough because on social media, the University of Washington's athletic director put out a video of him going to the Fisch home and having Fisch sign the contract. It's a lot to process. The biggest question now is how many players is Fisch taking with him? Namely, is he taking star quarterback Noah Fafita and future NFL wide receiver Tetroa, McMillan, T-Mac? Are they going? I don't know, Brad. I can see it. It has to be the move. Big week for football coaches. What do you make of all this? What happened here?
Man, there's so much stuff going on. Pete Carroll, done in Seattle. Nick Saban, probably the greatest college football coach of all time. Pretty inarguably. I can't think of anybody, certainly in the modern era. Yeah, you have to go back to like just the notion of white people running around on the field with no masks when you can get to better coaches, I guess, with better records. I'm not sure about the Bill Belichick thing. Like, I don't know how to feel about that because people are like, well, he's not a great coach because he had Brady and Brady left and then this happened. And it's like, or He was there for too long. It's just needs something to push him and motivate him, because he got the Browns to the playoffs and then the Browns became the Ravens. That was when he left for New England. Like they got there and gave that city hope. They finally had a great team and they're like, let's sell it. And it's just gone. And now the Browns are back and the Browns are in the playoffs. They're done. Belichick going, McCarthy. So let me ask you this. Would Mike McCarthy be fired if it wasn't Dallas?
Probably not.
I don't think there's going to be an opening in Dallas, even though from Dallas standards and standpoints, maybe I see it, but we're going to come back to that in a second because of what I told you before we started recording here in the production meeting. The Chargers seem like a great fit for Belichick. However, next week, it is rumored, I don't know if it's reported, that the Chargers will be taking interviews with one Jim Harbaugh from the University of Michigan. And Harbaugh, I know, wants to win a Super Bowl. He got there and lost to his brother. So I don't know.
You could be next, my friend. I forgot about that. You could be next.
I'm okay with it. We won a national championship, so I don't give a shit.
Yeah,
so
I
got what I wanted. Now,
for sure.
Now, the Dallas double standard here of excellence, of tradition, and all this garbage. Okay, I saw the stat today. The Detroit Lions have not been to an NFC championship game since 1991. The Dallas Cowboys have not been to an NFC championship game since 1995. They are only 4 years removed from the Detroit Lions getting to an NFC championship game. Yet we hold the Cowboys as this great historic franchise because yes, they did win a Super Bowl. Yes, they won many of them in that run. What, 3, 4? Can't even remember. They went on a terror. They were incredible. They haven't done anything since. Nothing. Done. They got knocked out of the playoffs by the Packers several times. Been there for that. I've enjoyed every second of it. By the way, I don't care. Des didn't catch that ball. Now. That's right. I said it. I said it.
Des didn't catch the ball.
I said I had to go through the fail Mary, so you can go through that. Eat it. Okay. 1995. Lions, 1991. Lions, garbage. Cowboys, America's team. How? Explain to me how. What have they done? Lose? Not win championships? What's the difference between them and Detroit? The regular season was better? Ooh. Awesome. Great. We got Tony Romo fumbling in the playoffs. We got Dak Prescott heaving up interceptions. Tell me how it's different. I see no difference. So Mike McCarthy, yes, he's probably on his way out. I think, but then I think about like how long Wade Phillips was there without winning anything, and everybody was like, "Oh, he's done."
Wade Phillips,
he's just there forever.
What a name, Wade Phillips, Jason Garrett. It's been,
and every time they lose, we're like, "Oh man, they're gone." And every time they're like, "They're in the playoffs." Like, get him out of here.
Since Jimmy,
it's kind of weird, right?
It's been a precipitous downfall there for head coaches.
Well, they won a Super Bowl without him immediately after he left, but they did it with the team that he built. So
exactly. Yeah. But in the 2010s, I mean, just Wade and Garrett. That's
and they weren't bad football teams. And I know people are gonna be like, "Oh, and that's the difference between them." Yeah, well, they didn't win anything. So like,
yeah, Cowboys fans, we love you, but we just got to have this conversation.
Detroit gets ripped for hanging playoff banners. We made the playoff banners in the stadium, and they're like, "Well, you got to hang championships." I'm like, buddy, you haven't been there since 1995, so let's calm down a little on that one. All right. So anyway, that's where we are. All right, I rest now. I gotta take a breath. I'm getting all fired up.
We got to cool down off that. I don't like that. That was spicy.
America's team, get out of here.
If we needed a fourth segment today, that easily could have slotted that in promo of the week.
Tyler, let's just move on.
Speaking of promos,
we got promos. We got lots of
promos on AEW this week.
They were also on social media. We'll get to that.
Yeah, they were, and they returned to Daly's place. But we'll go right into it, Brad. Here's my AEW question for you. It's become a quarterly tradition on here. It's time for my House of Black check-in. I know they're arguably your favorite group in wrestling. I think that's still the case. I am in awe of Giulia Hart's ascension to the TBS title. She just main evented Battle of the Belts. Brody King was in the Continental Classic. Malachi and Buddy are collision main eventers. Not near the title scene, though, but main event and winning matches finally.
Yeah.
Here's my question. What do you think of House of Black's current position on the roster?
What are they positioned to do? They're getting matches and they're winning matches, but they're not contending for anything. So they're just there to win and have nothing happen. They're not getting singles matches for belts there. They haven't been recently anyway. I mean, I know there's been a couple of like what Buddy Matthews challenged for the international title. How
Right.
long ago was that now? That feels
That
like
was-
months ago.
That was a minute ago.
Yeah. So Malachi Black, though, I just want to see him have a singles run. Like the guy's incredible. Just charisma oozing out of that dude. Like give him promos, give him titles, like let him take the TNT championship from Christian Cage. Let him do something. Right now he's international championship would be great with him. I think, but I want him claiming the big gold belt right now, and he just can't because that's Swerve's time. And Samoa Joe is.
I remember the days when we thought that was possible for Malachi. That was maybe his destiny. It seems like
still possible. He's
pretty far.
He's got 2 or 3 years left on that contract, so
Yeah,
we can still get him there.
I hope so. And to me, with the main event title scene, I mean, granted, we don't have the pen, we don't know the conversations, but this year, I think this is going to be an amazing year for their main event men's scene. Number one, I'm already thinking about the Revolution card, and I think it's going to be the best AEW pay-per-view card since maybe last year's Revolution, but we'll save that combo for another day. Brad, to me, speaking of Malachi and where he goes, I would love for him to go for the big gold belt. This year, I think we already have the order mapped out. Swerve, maybe as soon as Revolution. And to me, it seems like I'm hearing it from every AEW fan. I'm absolutely here for this idea. I'm hearing that we're going to get Swerve versus Will Ospreay. And granted, this is just fantasy booking. This is just, what people would like to see, what they're saying on the timeline.
Right.
I think that makes all the sense in the world. Could you imagine, Brad? All in London, part 2. Swerve comes in as champ with Prince Nana, and they're facing Will Ospreay, and I think Will Ospreay would have to win that. But you end All in London 2 with Will Ospreay holding the belt, and then presumably win that in August, and he's carrying it through the end of the year. I think if we're trying to get Malachi in here for that top prize, the richest prize in all of AEW, I think my man would have to put in an application for 2025. I don't know if it's going to happen this year, but Will Ospreay versus Malachi Black in a feud, sign me up and take my money. I'll give you the PIN number. I'll give you the account number, whatever you need. That's how I want to start my 2025, or maybe even at the end of this year.
Revolution can't get here soon enough. I don't know what's going to be on that card. I don't know. Are they doing a Face of the Revolution ladder match? Are they doing what are they doing? I would if there's a women's one and there's like a Joker or whatever.
That would be
there's only
talent.
one person that I can imagine being the surprise for that.
Oh my gosh. Could you imagine that match? Mercedes, Serena Deeb, Deanna.
Get out of here. Jamie Hayter, Tyler.
Jamie Hayter. Can we
That's
add her?
The one.
Can we
put
add
her as the surprise? I want Mercedes way sooner than that.
This?
And then throw her in as the surprise return. Just stomping people out.
Revolution is going to be special.
Just throwing nasty forearms. Jamie Hayter, Mercedes Moné. Oh my God. Inject that right into my eyeballs.
Serena Deeb is coming back.
I can't
Serena versus Mercedes?
That's
Deanna versus Jamie?
Yes.
Come on now.
My God, it's going to be incredible. The Win killed it this week in AEW, by the way, and WWE. That Bianca Bailey just have great chemistry. I loved that match. I thought the outside storytelling, Bailey trying to get them to cheat and then just hands off, was great. I loved Red Velvet and Deonna Purrazzo. That was so good. That submission at the end, incredible.
Yeah, Red Velvet's been her for a while.
Yes, for a long time.
So glad she's healthy.
I know she was injured. Yeah, right. Lots of injuries in the women's division over there, and I can't wait to see more. They're on fire right now. I think they're getting better. I think they're getting bigger. AEW is starting to feel a little bit like AEW again, and that makes me really happy. It makes me hopeful for the future in there, just so we have that different product and not just WWE light. I don't want that. I didn't like that. But there's moments where you're like, oh, this is what I loved. This is incredible.
Yeah,
So excited for that.
But it sounds like obviously we're talking about Malachi and Buddy and Brody. Brody's just awesome as well. I think
Brody's incredible.
He was such a great choice for the Continental Classic.
That like triple pile driver thing with FTR and Daniel Garcia, amazing. And I love they're selling him as just this unkillable monster.
Yeah, he's
huge. He's a
total gem. And I was not hip to his work before AEW. I'm so glad that he is on this platform. It sounds like you and I agree. I know we've spoken about it on air and off air in terms of the fourth member, maybe the biggest star in this group at this point in time, which is incredible and also something I did not see coming so fast.
Yeah, right.
Giulia Hart.
Yeah.
Homegrown success.
Yeah.
Homegirl's killing it. And she's 22.
Yeah. It's amazing.
At 22, I was like working at a ballet studio, Brad, and I had about $100 to my name.
Going to the outlets.
Going to the out. Yes, I'm sure I was back then, probably. Yeah. Giulia Hart is absolutely incredible. What a star.
Yeah, it's so fun to watch. Like, and we got to watch her grow up. It's weird. It's weird because we were watching her as a cheerleader, and now she's this.
Especially in Daly's place. Literally, yes, how many AEW Dark matches of hers took place there, and then you fast forward 2-ish, 3 years later, where I started at 19 and now 22, and just her entrance and the presence and the shot with Sky Blue, where Sky Blue's looking up at her, and Giulia Hart is just the champ. And
they recreated the hand shot, with
shot.
Anna Jay.
I'm getting goosebumps just talking about this right now. Giulia Hart to me is what makes wrestling beautiful and why it's so much more than just watching fake fights, quote unquote, or whatever the stereotype is. Like, this is why, because we get to see, much like any sport, right? Or like so many things in life, we get to see someone start out in this profession and then grow and develop and get better. And then before our eyes, if this were our teacher eval, Brad, Giulia went from like basic,
distinguished,
satisfactory to highly distinguished. Like her Danielson rubric is just is amazing right now.
She's getting the highly qualified letter.
She's getting the highly qualified. They're asking her to be a PLC lead and an instructional coach next year.
Yeah,
PBIS Jones. She is amazing. I love House of Black.
Yeah, she's incredible. She's definitely a highlight. Tyler, Tony Khan was unhinged this week, taking on all comers on X. He mentioned Jinder's booking, and then Jinder mentioned Hook before deleting the tweet or the zeet. So I am making you steward of all online interaction, Tyler. You are now steward. You've been knighted. What are the rules, your rules, for trash talking other companies? Also assume Bischoff deserves it.
Oh my gosh. I'm the social media, the trash talk star, the steward.
Yes.
I would, gosh. So TK's in Jacksonville, so Florida, right? 2 hours ahead of us out here in Arizona. I would say after 8 p.m., there's no social media allowed for anybody. Their apps just lock. You can get on it 5 a.m. the next day, which I'm a 5 a.m. let's call it 5 a.m. But 8 p.m. to 5 a.m., it's blocked, Brad. You can't access it. That would be number one. But when you do access it, I don't know that I would change much, actually. I'm kind of here for the chaos. Maybe it's the chaos agent in me, but it's so messy. And it's kind of like reality TV where you can't turn away. And you want it's like some of my favorite batch seasons. You want structure. You just want some sort of control, but it's such a hot mess. It's the Wild West. I don't know if this would make me the best czar or the worst. I would just put that restriction on at 8 p.m. because I don't think much good happens on social after that. But
correct.
But all the other hours, I think they should just operate as is. Eric Bischoff is in his feelings. TK seems to not have a lot of self-control. And then the IWC takes this so seriously.
Crazy pants.
the tribalism. I don't know if that was kind of like the word of 2023 in the wrestling community.
Yeah,
Tribalism.
100%.
The tribalism is super annoying and just not really for me. You and I come on here every week. We talk about how much we love WWE and AEW and offer critiques for both when we think it's warranted. I think the tribalism part as the steward or the czar is what I would want to focus on, because I just want to see all wrestling companies succeed. I hope Jinder versus Seth is going to be fun. I hope Hook versus Samoa Joe is going to rule.
Mm-hmm.
As your steward, as your czar, we don't need to choose sides. Let's root for everyone. Everybody eats. We all win as long as performers are healthy. Let's just watch it all.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. If I had the same power, I like the 8-5 rule. The only thing I would say is,
do you really? Okay,
I do. I think it eliminates a lot of problems in the middle of the day. So. The one thing that I would add is that talent is not allowed to bury other talent, and especially promotional people, bosses, bookers should not be burying talent in any company, but talent should not be burying talent in another company if it's not going to lead to a storyline, especially WWE, because platform wise, they are punching down no matter who it is. I don't care if it's Kenny Omega. I don't care if it's Will Ospreay. It is punching down if somebody like Jinder does it, because people that only watch WWE because it's all they've ever had access to are going to assume that these people are nobody and they've never heard of them. And so it's going to look really bad, especially if that talent ends up coming to the company at some point, because you never know what's going to happen. Because we got our Lexi King in NXT, and 2 years ago that was a person in the stable with Giulia Hart, the current TBS champ. So you never know what can happen. I hated that Jinder said, "Who's Hook?" But I loved that Taz corrected it with all caps Hook.
Yes.
That was great.
Yes,
so,
I knew you wouldn't let me down.
Yes.
Huge pop for me. I love that. Taz is we obviously love Taz.
Yeah.
Such a proud dad, but he's also really into marketing.
Yes.
And the fact that whenever anyone spells Hook, capital H and then lowercase OOK, he always seems to quote tweet or get in the replies, Hook, all caps. The branding is phenomenal.
My question there would be like, okay, did that get taken down because of self-awareness? Did that get taken down because Taz retweeted it with a correction and then he's like, oh shit, that's Taz's kid? Out of respect for Taz, I gotta take this down.
Both
or
seem
was
highly
that
possible.
Or was it hey, Paul, what's your boy doing over there? Burying I know my boss is unhinged, but you know, Hook might be a future star for you. Let's not do this right now. So I don't know. I think it was Tony Khan put himself in a position to have that be misinterpreted when he was burying the booking of Jinder and not Jinder. He was burying his booking by going like, why does he get a title match?
Exactly,
it doesn't make any sense.
Jinder,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But everybody misinterpreted it, and then people got in their feelings, and it was a mess. But with you, you know, I like chaos. You know, I like just throwing grenades into a conversation just to see what will happen. So I'm absolutely here. Yeah, I know
I've seen it with my own 2 eyes.
Thanks, Paul. I just like doing stuff to see what happens. Tyler, sometimes it requires some digging to see what's going to happen. Sometimes it requires some investigation. You've inspired me, my friend. We do not have Bachelor Talk this week, but we do soon. And because of that, I thought I don't have anything to talk about yet. Here I am watching all these shows like a weird study habit. It's time to dig deeper. So play the music. Tyler, I think the segment's going to be for a couple of shows that I watch. 2 of them are currently, one of them is currently on hiatus as the new season gets edited and put together. And that is The Secret of Skinwalker Ranch. And the other one is the one that I have loved, been 11 seasons. It's The Curse of Oak Island. Tyler and listeners, viewers, if you are unfamiliar with the show, it is on the History Channel. The narrator is now a little bit on my nerves. I love his voice, but he always repeats. They have it set up where they've committed to this gimmick, and I respect that, but please stop. It's, yeah, I think we found something 30 feet down. Found something 30 feet down? Could it be that they blah, blah? It's just very formulaic, and it's like, all right, half the show is recap. Nothing new, it's all recap. But for those of you that are unfamiliar with the show, there's this island off the coast of Nova Scotia that early 1800s was discovered that there was just this sort of hook hanging from a tree above these boards. They dug 10 feet down, boards. Ripped them up, 10 feet down, boards. 10 feet down, boards. They got to 90 feet, and they found a stone with a cipher carved into it that when translated said, 90 feet below, however many 100 pounds are buried. So like gold is buried down here, essentially. They kept digging. Eventually, booby trap, flood tunnel, whole thing flooded out. They've been trying to dig this thing up ever since, including FDR going there in his early life. Masons, all of these people. And now, flash forward, they're still trying to find the treasure. They're using all the scientific equipment. They got anthropologists and archaeologists all over the place. They got metallurgists. They have drill specialists. They have people doing LiDAR. They got all kinds of stuff going on. They found this structure, this well on one side of the island that dates back to the 1200s that should simply not be there because that's pre-discovery. And all of this wacky stuff is happening. We know now that the Vikings were definitely in Nova Scotia well before the discovery of America. It had already been discovered. However, they're finding stuff. Nobody knows who put it there. Nobody knows why it's there. Nobody knows what the structure's for. This is nuts, man. There's a swamp in the middle that it is believed to be man-made. They're finding planks and burnt stuff from a ship that was likely sunk in the center of the swamp to hide its discovery before the swamp became the swamp. They filled it in. It used to be 2 islands. Now it's 1. They found a stone paved path buried underneath the swamp. They're finding all these stone roads that are 4 feet down, at least under all of this dirt that's just been buried from time and from hiding. Nobody knows who the hell put anything here. Nobody has a clue what's going on. And yet every once in a while, there's bone. They find human bone 100 and some feet down. They found a bit of gold chain down there. There's gold and silver in the water. Tyler, this place is insane. The first couple of seasons, if you're going to catch up, I'd say skip them. I'd jump into like season 3, season 4 and just go. Season 1, here's what they're going to find. A coin. That's it. Like they find a coin out in the swamp. Not really worth your time. And you can jump in probably this season and be all caught up and feel caught up. But the path to get there is kind of worth it. The people along the way that several older people have passed since the show started that were involved with the island, and they've left clues that guided them. The show is nuts. So next week, expect a summary and a recap. But Tyler, my question for you, because this week they're down in this, they're rebuilding a mining tunnel, essentially a shaft that they had a bad storm and it flooded out, and it keeps flooding. They can't figure it out because it's basically a waterproof tunnel, mine shaft. They can't figure it out. So they're working to seal it right now. Have you ever had a problem you tried to solve that just keeps fighting back?
Oh man. I mean, all the time. This is like an actual, I used my hands to try to fix it and it wouldn't.
Whatever it is. It could be anything, man.
Okay.
For me, it's dishes.
Okay. Yeah, I like that. Okay, dishes. Okay, yeah. I think for me, and I'm not perfect at it by any means, but I think anyone who knew me, particularly in my 20s, I guess I'm just like learning.
That's the show, man.
I don't know why people were friends
with me. The show has been a 20 self-discovery for Tyler.
It really is. I don't know why people were interested in me during that time period in my life. Being punctual, arriving on time to things, if not, dare I say, early, that was a perpetual problem for me. I'm trying to work on it, but I think I'm much better. But it was a problem for a long time. It was fighting me year in and year out.
That's such a good answer.
I mean those PLCs Friday mornings at 7:15.
Yes.
I'm rolling in at 7:16 on a good day.
Come on. I think mine are all existential. That if they're not physical, I'm trying to do this. Oh, I can't do that. Or it's just the artistic part of the brain where it's never good enough. It's got to
For
be
sure.
fixed. It's got to be fixed. It's got to be fixed. Like I look at the logos every day. I look at I think about it constantly going like, oh, what can I change to make this better? I also think that's a good thing, but sometimes it feels like fighting uphill and it's never going to stop. And maybe it won't, but that's okay. I love watching this show because these guys are just absolutely tenacious. They find nothing and they're like, yeah, let's just keep going. We might find something here. Let's just keep going. It's awesome.
That's what I'm talking about. That segment was awesome. Debut in the books. I can't wait for episode 2 next week. We got DD, we got Batch, we got Rose, whatever we call it here. I'm so excited, Brad. This is going to be a big year for GI. But before we get there, what did we miss? I want to dedicate my what did we miss to our good friend and former guest, George Romero. He submitted a question for our episode with TK talking about women's wrestling. Unfortunately, we weren't able to fit it in, but I wanted to share it on here. So George asked, I have it on. Yes, I do. Right in front of me. George asked, out of the 4 major belts in the 2 main companies, who loses their championship first and who ends their title reign?
This is women's wrestling.
This is women's wrestling. Thank you. Yep. And he reminded us those champions being in WWE, Io Sky and Rhea Ripley. In AEW, the aforementioned Giulia Hart and Timeless Toni Storm. I will give my answer, and then I'm going to pass it to hear yours and your what did we miss, Brad. I'm going to go. You may feel a way about this, but it's my truthful response to George. I think it's Rhea Ripley. I think Rhea drops it at WrestleMania. I'm hoping Io goes into WrestleMania as champ, and I think she retains, but I don't think Rhea is going to be as fortunate. I'm going to say Rhea Ripley drops the title. I'm going to say she drops to Jade Cargill at WrestleMania.
Wow.
I said it. Julia's not losing. Timeless Tony's not losing before Mania. Rhea Ripley is my answer.
I can also see Io losing to Trinity because we know that's happening. Naomi, whatever it's going to be there. We're going to see something happen there. And I don't know. I don't know if that's the case. There's a lot of talent on that roster, man, and anything can happen between now and then. But I think you have a great pick, Rhea to Jade. I mean, I'm not gonna be mad at that matchup.
I don't think Becky Lynch could also be in this mix, but I'm gonna go Jade. I'm gonna put it out to the ether.
There's not a single person that's gonna be mad about seeing that in the ring. That's just give that the whole show. Yeah, man. What we missed? There's a lot that we missed. I'll get your thoughts here in a second about TNA's return. I know you watched. Jungle Boy tore up his contract at a New Japan ring. He returned and attacked. I think it was Shooter, right? Shota Umino. I think.
Right.
I'm pretty sure that's who it was.
Yeah, the scapegoat Jack Berry.
Because there's so many things happening in there that I forgot. Because we got Ziggler over there, Nick Nemeth. We got all kinds of stuff happening. I just don't understand all the things that are happening. It was that one day went off Friday, right? No, Saturday. Saturday night just went absolutely bonkers bananas with wrestling stuff happening all over the world. TNA, Collision and Battle of the Belts, New Japan Pro Wrestling, just stuff happening everywhere. Tyler, we're in a golden age here. We're in a new golden age for wrestling. It's really incredible.
It was incredible. Euphoric. It was euphoric. I'll just quickly add and I was thinking like, oh my gosh, man, we got the Sting announcement, Sting and Darby versus the Young Bucks. We're going to talk Revolution. Don't you worry in due time. Hard to Kill notes. You laid it out for me, my friend. Yeah, I ordered it. I watched it. It was a really good show. Some phenomenal in-ring work throughout the night. My quick notes on this were the production seemed much better. Admittedly, I haven't ordered a TNA live event, a pay-per-view in quite some time, but the production quality seemed much improved.
T-Rip.
The Nick Nemeth, the debut, the T-Rip.
He's in New Japan. He's on TNA's roster. Everything is nuts, man.
The zigzag or
the AAA announcement, affiliate announcement with TNA.
Yep. Vikingo was obviously there. Yeah, yes. Absolutely. Killer Kelly. By the way, I guess I just forgot she exists in all her Killer Kelly-ness, but that was great to see her do her thing. And also Alex Hammerstone, one of the few Arizona wrestlers on this big of a stage. I don't think there's that many people that are from AZ. He's particularly from Phoenix. So him coming out on this show facing Josh Alexander and being announced, from Phoenix, Arizona, Alex Hammerson. I'm like, oh my gosh, like we're seeing one of us do his thing on this big of a platform. I thought he looked fantastic. I definitely believe he's a free agent to keep your eye on. In my humble opinion, TNA would be a great landing spot for him, but I could also totally see him translating and being successful in AEW or in WWE. I've stood mere feet from the guy in front of his merch table. Just one of the largest human beings I've ever seen. One of the most tan human beings I've ever seen. He's an absolute star, and I can't wait to see what's next for him. So Hard to Kill was fantastic. I'm glad Trin got her flowers as well. You mentioned Trinity, Brad. She definitely got her flowers. Jordan Grace beat her. Women's Ultimate X, Giselle Shaw. There was just so much to like on this card. Really, really spectacular night of grabs.
Yeah, I'm sure we're missing other things, but for now, let's call it a night, Tyler.
Yeah, let's do it. As a reminder, you can find our articles on pro wrestling, pop culture, and much more by visiting gimmickinfringementpod.com. You can also follow us on X at GIPod19. We thank you so much for being here, and we hope you'll join us again for the next edition of GI. Happy MLK Day. Gimmick Infringement is a part of 19 Media Group. You can listen to us on Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or wherever you find podcasts. You can also find us on YouTube via the 19 Media Group channel. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share.